my dear friend Bunny Holston, who's going to be helping us out today.
Good morning.
So today what we're going to talk about, well, the name of the class is How to Get Almost Everything You Want. And I wanted to call it How to Get Almost Everything You Want Without Having to Go to Jail, but they said that was too long to put on the calendar. So we're just sticking with How to Get Almost Everything You Want. And what I've learned over the years is I'm more likely to get what I want if I communicate effectively. And even though we're talking about conflict resolution today, it's really about communication, because it's not just what I say, it's how I say it and who I say it to. All right, so conflict. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about conflict, what it is, where it comes from, how to deal with it. We're going to give some basic, simple maintain when we're in that situation. And then we're going to talk a lot about communication, assertiveness, all kinds of yay. Yay. So conflict. Dun, dun, dun. Conflict is a disagreement or clash between ideas, principles, or people. Okay, it's when I want something and the person I'm dealing with doesn't want to give it to me, or they can't give it to me, and we bump heads, right? I want it, they won't give it, we bump heads. And it just happens. Conflict happens everywhere. When's the last time you were in conflict, Bunny?
Just a minute ago.
When she was talking to me. It can happen anywhere. That's the thing about a disagreement. Right? A clash. It can happen on the bus. It can happen at work. It can happen at home. It can happen when we're by ourselves and we clash with ourselves. So conflict happens anywhere. Anywhere where there are more than one person, there's the potential for conflict. Right? So what else should we say about conflict, Bunny? It can make life difficult, I can tell you that. It's a wall between people. It's a wall between people. And I know today that with communication, with effective communication, we can tear that wall down.
Well, and I like what you said, the recognition that conflict is a part of our life. I mean, that's something that happens every day to every single one of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We always have the potential to get pissed off. I mean, it's just out there. There are people and things that just put us in that place of conflict, put in that place of disagreement with somebody else, right? So we'll talk about just a couple of little tips. And trust me, I'm not doing any kind of brain surgery today. This is not deep. It's not hard. It's just some basic stuff that we learned, or some of us learned in kindergarten. I don't know that I ever learned this, but anyway.
Well, and it's something that we've probably been taught, that we've read. We've had other classes on it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's always important to keep bringing this back and recognizing where our control and our point of view and our lens when it comes to conflict.
Absolutely. Because it is within our power to be heard. It is within our power to communicate. Not necessarily be heard, because that's on the other person. But there are some things we can do that can make ourselves be heard better. Right? And that's what I want today. I don't want my words wasted. If I'm going to speak, if I'm going to say something to somebody, if I'm going to try to figure it out with somebody, I want it to be significant. I want it to count. So I want to communicate in a way that is more likely, as always, to get me what I need.
Well, in a state of conflict, I think that lots of things shut down. And to be purposeful in how you communicate, where you communicate, the tone in which you communicate is paramount when it comes to conflict.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. We'll talk about that in a second. Don't jump the gun, Bunny. Come on, girl.
We're
Don't make me mad. We're having a conflict. Okay, so the first thing that I can do if I'm in a situation where I'm in conflict is to just take a second. Take a step back. Take a nice deep breath and take a moment to think. Beautiful thing about recovery is today I've got that pause. I've got between what you say and how I respond, there's a little space today. And that has to do with recovery because before you would say it, I'd be on you, right? Slap you upside the head, whatever it took to get sense into you. Today, I don't do that as much. Today, I take a step back and I want to be able to think, how can I go about this in a way that's going to get me what I need? How am I going to go about this in a way that can sidestep conflict and get me right into solution? Absolutely. Thank you, Bunny. Get into the solution.
And it's okay to take a break for a minute, a time out, to gather your thoughts. And because we know getting ready to be in that conflict, physiology is in our body. So sometimes we just have to step back.
Mm-hmm. Now keep in mind it takes 20 to 30 minutes for us to calm physically when we've been in a situation that's really agitated us. Okay, so sometimes that take a step back could be just a few seconds, a few minutes. Sometimes it's going to take a significant amount of time depending on what the conflict is, depending on the miscommunication in that situation. So for whatever time you need, take a step back. Do some breathing. Think for a second. Is this what I really want? How am I going to go about this to get what I need? So the first step is just take a break for a second. I think the second thing we need to look at is to identify what we want. There are times when I'm in a conflict that I may think I want a thing, but what I really need is to be heard and seen. Sometimes I want a specific thing, but sometimes I just need to be understood by another person. So identify what it is we want in this situation. Is it a thing? Is it respect? Is it to be heard? What is it that I want in this? What do I want to communicate to the other person so that I can get my needs met? So I think the first step is to decide what it is you want and identify that, or else it gets mushy. It gets cloudy when we're not specific about what we want, right? Third point, have you done the paperwork? Just about anywhere you go, if you get a service, you sign something. You sign that you're going to do this and they're going to do that. You sign service for case management, for a plumber to come, for psychiatric care, for whatever it is. When you go in, read the paperwork. When I go into a system, into a treatment facility, I need to read the paperwork because that's my contract with it. Whose responsibility is it to know the rules where we are? What do you think, Bunny? Whose responsibility is it for me to know that I can't lay hands on anybody here at Promise Resource Network?
It's our personal responsibility.
Absolutely. It's on me to know the rules.
Yeah.
Right? And there are rules, there are expectations. Let's not call them rules, expectations. There are expectations on how to act on the bus. Right? There are things you do and you don't do on the bus. There are things you do and you don't do at work, at home. Everywhere we go, there's an expectation. And it's good if we know that expectation, right? So I need to check the regulations. I need to check what the standard is in a situation that I'm going into.
It supports your validity to part of your side of that conflict is to have this knowledge and to be sure of it.
Absolutely. And to make sure I'm right. Because there's nothing worse in a conflict for me than to get halfway through explaining it and being mad and everything and then realize, oh, wait, that's not what that is. Never mind. I hate that when I'm halfway through an argument and realize I'm wrong. If I can think ahead of time to make sure I'm in the right, that I know what the expectations are, that I know what the rules are, so I've got a foot to stand on. All right. When you're in a contract with an agency, when you sign the paper and they sign the paper as a witness, that constitutes a contract. That means they will do what they say they'll do, and we'll do what we say we'll do. All right. So that's your contract. That says that I'm going to abide by the expectations, but I expect you to as well. So those are that's that paperwork kind of thing that we need to know. What are the rules in this situation? And rules are different everywhere. You talk a certain way on the bus than you do at a 12-step meeting, right? We can talk at work one way, but we talk a different way at home. It's different everywhere we go, and it's good if we know what that expectation is so that we can communicate better. This was my favorite one. Identify what's most important. Is the relationship more important than getting the thing? Okay, I have a story I tell that some of you have heard many, many times, but I'll tell it again anyway. I have an intimate relationship with peanut butter Oreos. I love them and they love my hips and we get along very well. So say I go to Food Lion or Bilo or wherever, Harris Teeter, and I go back to get my cookies and there are no cookies. Well, I get pissed. So I go up to the cashier and I'm like, you all haven't put out my cookies yet. What's going on? Well, she gives me some lip, right? So I've got to decide which is more important, the thing or the cookie or the relationship. Now, if I'm in an argument with this lady at the store, to be honest, she's not really significant to me. So in that case, the cookie might be more important. But say I go to my mama's house and she's just baked peanut butter cookies. And I go, Mom, can I have a cookie? And she goes, no, they're for guests. Which is the relationship more important than the cookie then, right? I don't know that woman at the store, but I know my mama, right? And I don't want to ruin that relationship over a cookie. But God have I before. I have ruined things. I've ruined relationships over a cigarette, let alone a cookie. But I've got to choose which is more important in that situation, the cookie or the person. Now, I don't know about you. I know some of y'all got mamas that will, like if you call 6 months down the road, you ruin that relationship over the cookie. You call 6 months down the road and you say, Mom, I need my birth certificate to get my license. And Mom will go, do you remember the cookie incident? Right? And bring all that stuff up from our past. So when we're in that situation, I've got to decide, is this worth the fight? Is this worth the conflict? Right? So to be able to choose in those moments when I take a step back, okay, what do I want? How am I going to get it? And what's it going to cost me? Right? Now, if we get into the situation where we are not going to get the thing we want, we got to go to acceptance, right? And acceptance is the realization of a fact or truth and the process of coming to terms with it. My definition is to be willing to let go of that expectation. I want the cookie, but I ain't going to get it today. They're out of cookies. Nobody got cookies. I just got to accept that. Today, I'm not going to get what I want. But there's always tomorrow. Today, I'm not going to get what I want from this particular person. But there may be another person, right? So accept the power that we have today and let go of what we don't have power over. Right?
It's the ability to choose that battle.
Yes.
Is it that I have to be right? Is there some innate drive for myself that I have to be right? and I am going to be right no matter what I say in this conversation.
Uh-huh.
And is it worth that? What purpose is it of being right other than just feeding my own ego?
Because I want to be, I choose today, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Now, there are some people in the world that have to be right. I mean, they don't care. They are right and they don't hear anything about it. And you know what? Have at it. If it means that much to you, you're right. But I'm happy, right?
And we have people in our life that we know that this is part of who they are. And then you can make a conscious choice to go ahead and set that up. And what you believe, of course, is your perspective and your point of view. And I respect that. But I know where this conversation is going to go. And you're going to be right. And I'm okay with that.
Yes. We can agree to disagree.
I've accepted that.
Yes.
But we can still have a beautiful conversation if the other person is open to it.
It's all about the communication. It's all about the communication. And my choosing is what I want important enough to potentially lose this relationship. Hi, Bobby. So how do we get what we want? Just a few tips. The first one being, don't be belligerent.
I shut down. I shut completely down when somebody comes at me like that.
Yes. The louder I get, the less Bunny can understand me. And most people are like that. So when we're belligerent, when we're cussing and fussing and yelling and screaming, it may get us what we want in the short run, but it won't get us what we want in the long run. In the short run, I may get my cookies, but I will not be able to eat them in the back of a squad car. Right? So the long run doesn't work out when I get ugly, when I get cussing and fussing and threatening and all that stuff. So just think about when somebody does that to you. Does it help you want to help that person? Help make you want to help that person? No. When we get loud, people don't help us at all. And that goes against what we're trying to do, right? I'm trying to get something, so the louder I get, the least likely it is I'm going to get it. So stay still, stay calm. Allow the other person to win a little bit too. Win-win situations are always great. If I will you, if negotiate, if I cut your grass, will you give me a ride to a meeting? Right? If I do this, will you do that for me? So compromise. I'm not saying be a doormat. Never, ever, ever, ever be a doormat. But it's okay to give in a little bit of what we're expecting, what we're wanting, to get the majority of what we want. All right. Be respectful to yourself and authority. That one kind of kicks me because I got issues around authority. So be respectful. I got to remember, right? Authority to me is someone who has the ability to take something from me.
Power over.
So what can my boss take from me? My job, right? What can the police take from me? My freedom. What can my mama take from me? My life. Because she brought me into this world, she will take me out over a cookie. I know she will. So we want to be respectful, though, in those situations. Because I don't want to lose what I've got, right? If I'm driving down Independence Boulevard, and today I've got a license, my car is squared away, I'm doing the speed limit, I even got my seatbelt on, and I'm just cruising down the road and I get pulled. And the officer comes up and says that I was speeding. Well, I know I wasn't speeding. He might even know I wasn't speeding. But I have that choice in that moment. Do I want to declare my rightness in this situation? Do I want to be the one that explains in detail to this officer about why he's wrong and, what he's going to get for it, and I pay your salary with my taxes and all this crap, right? It's not going to get me what I want, right? I'm going to lose something in that situation. right? I can lose my license. I can lose my car. I can even lose my life in a situation like that, depending on what it is I do. Anytime we're in a conflict with someone in authority, we've got the chance of losing our jobs, our homes, our relationships, our lives. So we need to act accordingly. We need to give respect to that position. Now, do I need to respect that officer in my heart of hearts? Nope. Do I need to act with respect in that situation so I don't lose what I've got? Yep. I want to be able to communicate in a way that doesn't cost me anything. I will gladly say, yes, sir, I don't believe I was speeding, but if that's what you say, go ahead and write me up and I'll take this up with the judge. Wasn't really. It was straight to the point. You do what you got to do. I'll do what I got to do, and we're good. Let me go. I could get into a long, drawn-out discussion, but that cost me too. On my way to work, I don't want to be late for work because I'm here dealing with this police officer when I don't have to, when I could just accept that this is how it is right here and right now. But I can change it in the future. I can take it up with their supervisor. I can take it up with a judge. I can take it up with someone that can hear my side because maybe right now that person can't. So we want to respect authority. Don't got to feel it in our heart of hearts, but if I want to get what I want, I need to act accordingly. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And again, it's that choice of the battle that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the respect to yourself too. When you know that you're in the right, sometimes you have to follow the protocol
Mm-hmm.
to prove that, I guess.
Yeah. Chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a second too. Be empathetic. Allow the other person to have a bad day. We never really know what somebody's going through. Now, say I'm at the Food Lion with this cashier and she's giving me lip. You know, I seriously want my peanut butter cookies, and she's giving me lip. Maybe her aunt just died. If I knew that, I would not be having this interaction with her. Be compassionate and go, honey, never mind. I don't need cookies right now.
Yeah,
right?
And the beauty of that is that we don't know. We never know. So it doesn't give us a right to do the things and the ugliness that we do, because everybody's going through something.
Yes. It never justifies ugliness.
No.
Even when we're right.
And grace.
No. Because I want to remember on my very day that if somebody had treated me kindly and with love, communicated with me in an effective way, probably would not have ended up where I ended up. So think about your worst day and how you felt. Maybe that's what that person is going through today. We don't have the facts. We don't have all the information. So what does it hurt to give someone the benefit of the doubt? Maybe they're not an asshole. Maybe they're just having a really, really bad day. A little mercy goes a long way. A little more. I want it when I'm in that space. Give it to others too. It helps. I believe in karma. What comes around goes around
Absolutely.
too. Absolutely. Brainstorm options. That's what's so cool about being in recovery. You've got people in your lives that can come together and try to figure things out. When we're in relationship, we can brainstorm. And 2 heads are better than 1, right? 4 heads are better than 2. 12 heads are better than 4. As many people as I can get involved in a situation, the more likely it is I'll get my solution. I go to the cashier, the first cashier. She didn't know anything about the cookies. The second cashier doesn't know a damn thing about the cookies either. I go to the third cashier. He says, we're going to read minutes. Can you wait? Here's my solution. I just had to find the right person that had it. So when we brainstorm, we open up all our minds to a solution, to a potential way of doing things, right? And nothing's off the board. Nothing's off the board. Brainstorm Everything counts. Even if it sounds impossible, throw it out there. You never know what's going to work. Right? So brainstorming is really good in situations to try to figure out how is it that I can get what I need to get. Ask for help. That's a big one. Use the hand. Like I said, I didn't get anything from the cashiers. I'll kick it up to the manager. I can get anything from the manager, get any solution from the manager, I'll kick it up to the district manager. I'll kick it up to the line and food line. Shit, I want my cookies. Yeah. Right? So use that chain of command when it's necessary. There is someone that may have the information you need. You just got to find that person. Sometimes the first person doesn't have the power to help. You call Social Security. You talk to somebody, the first line worker, DMV, whatever it is. They may not have what you need to get through. Right? They may not have the information you need. They may not have the power you need to get what you want. So you kick it up a notch. I ask you, just try to let the first person do it in their own power, because nobody likes to be their boss, right? So allow the first person to try to make it right with you. All right. So, Bunny, there are 3 kinds. Are there 3 kinds or 4 kinds? There are 3 kinds of communication. There's aggressive, passive, whatever you want is fine. There's passive aggressive, whatever you want is fine. And I key your car. And then there's assertive. And assertive is what we want today. I want to be assertive in the way I communicate, because it shows I respect myself and it shows I respect you as well.
And you can be assertive with
yes.
It's finding what we say all the time. It's finding that voice.
Mm-hmm. Finding our voice. Right? That's what assertive is. Assertive is speaking your truth in a way that can be heard. Okay, oh, that was good. Assertive is speaking your truth in a way that can be heard. Okay, so we got some tips. What's the first tip, Bunny?
Make eye contact.
Mm-hmm. It allows me to know that you respect me and that you respect yourself when you look me in the eye. Back in the day, I was shifty as hell. And I did not look a lot of people in the eyes because I was thinking. Today I am. And I can look you in the eye today. Because I respect myself. And I'm also respecting you in the position you're in that has what I want. Right? So making eye contact. Watch your body posture. Sometimes when we get angry, we get real big. Right? We puff out. Or when we get submissive, we get small. Watch your body language. It tells a story as well.
Closed off.
Yep. Yep.
You're intense. And
yes.
It emits so much energy. Feel it.
What our body is doing tells the story sometimes even more than our words do. Right? So watch what your body's doing. Watch what your face is doing too. Right? Everybody's got that stink look. Right? I can't believe you're saying that shit. So watch what your face does. Pay attention to that, because you're sitting there really getting the information you need. But if you got a look on your face, it's not getting across to the other person. So watch your facial expressions. Keep a comfortable distance. It's natural for me when I'm in conflict to want to take a step forward, right? We want to take a step back. Remember, take a break for a second. Take a step back. That allows a lot of space, because when we get too close to people, it either makes them afraid or angry, right? When we're in conflict. So take a step back. Leave plenty of space between you and the other person. How about pay attention to your voice tone and volume? You think about that one.
That's probably the most powerful tool that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Is the tone in which you say it. the way that you say it, if
Mhm.
it's loud or if it's soft, that carries probably the most bridge of a conflict is what you do with your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not what you say, it's how you say thank you, right? Hello. We can say a lot of just basic nice things, but depending on how we say them, can get the point across, right? So watch our tone and volume. Adjusting in private is another important part.
Yeah, you don't want to embarrass them in a group.
No. If I've got a problem with Bunny, I'm not going to do it at staff meeting. I'm not going to confront her at staff meeting. That's it. First of all, it's not necessary. It's not anybody else's business. But second of all, you get all that energy from the crowd, right? You remember elementary school when you were in a conflict with somebody and all of a sudden the crowd gathered around you, fight, 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 fight. So the energy gets us hyped up too. So we want to be able to talk to somebody in private just because that's how I would want to be talked to in private, right? Um, listen to what the other person's saying.
That's listen,
Mm-hmm.
because you may hear something far more than a conflict is about. Key phrases may keep coming up, and that helps you recognize where this conflict is coming from sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But give them the respect and to listen to them and not be thinking about what you're going to say next.
Absolutely. Boy, I have a bad habit of that. Sitting in a group and somebody's talking, they give a topic, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking about what to say. When I'm doing that, thank you, buddy. When I'm doing that, I can't hear anybody. I can't hear solution when I'm up in my own head thinking about how I'm going to say what after you be quiet, right? Listen. Sometimes our solution from what we thought, they may come up with something brilliant that will save you time that you hadn't even thought of.
Yeah, you can sit back, I haven't thought about it that way, but that's cool.
Absolutely. When we listen, we've got two heads, right? Instead of just one head thinking about it. Know and practice what you want to say. This one's important to me when I am going in front of authority. If I'm going before a judge or my supervisor or someone in authority that I really need to hear, I tend to write out what I want to say. And I even practice it sometimes because I'll get in a situation and I'll get there and they'll say, what would you like to say? And I'll say, well, shit. I don't remember. Like I'll have a whole list of things I want to talk to my doctor about and there and dummy up. I just won't remember anything. So I practice what I want to say, the way I want to say it. I'm more likely to get my needs met, right? Because that's what it's all about, getting our needs met. In communication, if we can do it effectively, we can get our needs met most of the time. We can get what we want almost all the time, right? So, in a situation when you're in conflict, take a break for a minute. Make sure you're in the right, that you're coming from the right frame of mind, the right system, the right whatever. Identify what you really, really want. Is it to be heard or is it a thing? Think about what's more important. Is the relationship more important than the cookie? I always want you to remember the cookie, because sometimes the cookie is more important than the relationship. But we got to weigh those things out. Go to acceptance. Whether you get it or not, we always go to acceptance. We want to remember, don't show your ass, right? You get more flies with honey than vinegar. Why you'd want flies? But allow the other person to win a little. Respect yourself respect yourself first, then it's always easier to respect others. Be empathetic, brainstorm options, and ask for help. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Easy, but it isn't always when our emotions get involved. Sometimes when I am in that situation where I know what I want to say, I'm going to communicate effectively, and then my emotions start kicking. And then I have a hard time talking when my emotions are kicking.
And that's natural. This takes practice. This is not going to happen overnight.
Mm-mm.
And you're not going to be able to do this every time because some things are going to be far more hurtful than you're able to step back and break and things like that. Be good to yourself.
Yeah.
Have yourself.
A little mercy goes a long way. It really does. Mercy for ourselves and mercy for others. So when you're in a situation where you're in conflict or you have the potential to be in conflict, think about it first. Think about what you want, what you need, and how you're going to go communicating in a way that is effective enough that your need met. Anything else, buddy?
No, it's good.
You go out there, have a fabulous day when you get in conflict, and choose wisely today. Choose wisely. Consequence of that, if it could be good, it could be not so good. So choose wisely today to use these tips on conflict resolution. So how to get almost everything without having to go to jail is all about communication. All right, we'll see y'all. Thanks for attending education. See ya.
Bye.